Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, invited guests, thank you very much for inviting us to give this little presentation. But before I start, I'd like to thank Her Excellency Margaret Lloyd for being with us. She's one of the 5 goodwill ambassadors that the KAIPTC has, and she's done so much to help us. She's led us through thick and thin and done so much for us. So it's impossible for me to begin my talk without saying thank you. So, Mom, thank you. My topic for today is ECOWAS as a peacemaker. And I'm going to talk about only 3 things within the short 10 minutes that we have. The first is ECOWAS in relation to peace and security in the region. How ECOWAS deals with the rising trends of jihadism and engagement of ECOWAS in the conflicts that dominate West Africa. Each year, between 2016 and 2019, Africa has been bombarded with approximately 1,500 terrorist attacks. And the reason for these are just simple 3. Socio-political problems, ethno-religious problems, and most importantly, economic factors. And West Africa, where we come from, is not being spared from this kind of attacks. If we cast our mind back into Nigeria, we have Boko Haram, which has been a major contributing factor to these attacks. And the spillover from these attacks do still affect countries like Niger, Chad, Cameroon, and Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso, it's important to us because it's close to us and it has very weak institutions. And with this constant bombardment, definitely we are going to bear the brunt of it. These violent extremisms in totality is affecting the social and economic security of Africa. It is now the responsibility of ECOWAS to find solutions to these terrorist activities. Briefly, I'll talk about the first point, which is the role of ECOWAS in relation to peace and security in the region. The establishment of ECOWAS in 1975 was purely for economic integration of the West African states. But due to the pressure of political events, ECOWAS gradually added and became one of an organization responsible for finding solutions to armed conflicts and other political activities. The early 1990s witnessed an upsurge in violent conflicts, instability, and the state failure in West Africa. Countries such as La Côte d'Ivoire, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, and Sierra Leone were adversely affected. The intensity and devastating consequences of the situation led to major rifts and shifts in the focus of ECOWAS from economic development to peace, security, and stability. Amidst all these enormous difficulties, ECOWAS intervened and restored peace in the Mano River region. And I'm proud to say that ECOWAS is always the first to be on ground anytime conflict occurs within West Africa. And this has been one of our greatest pride. And we go there before the international community sets foot there. ECOWAS, in order to concretize democracy in the late 90s, came out with or adopted 2 protocols. The first in December 1999, which was the mechanism for conflict prevention, management, resolution, peacekeeping, and security. To complement this protocol, in 2002 December, a second protocol was adopted, which is the Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. This protocol ensured that ECOWAS can intervene in case of serious and massive violation of human rights. My second point, the strength that ECOWAS holds to engage in conflicts that dominate West Africa. ECOWAS is undoubtedly the most advanced and effective regional organization in Africa, albeit its challenges. ECOWAS has succeeded partly because it recognized early the changing dynamics of conflict and the symbiotic relationship between peace, security, and development. As a result of this, ECOWAS introduced provisions on regional security into the legal framework of ECOWAS, and this created mechanisms, structures, and institutions to address some of the complex and veritable security threats in West Africa. Example is the creation of the ECOWAS Standby Force and the establishment of numerous mediation organs. These have been the major strength for ECOWAS in engaging in regional conflicts. And most importantly, ECOWAS's use of the zero tolerance policy, which abhors the illegitimate means of taking over a country. This policy was successfully used in Guinea between 2009 and 2011, in Niger between 2009 and 2010, La Côte d'Ivoire 2010 and 2011, and Gambia recently in 2016. Today, almost all West African states are considered as electoral democracies, and this success can be attributed to the assistance and oversight of ECOWAS. ECOWAS, nonetheless, must improve upon its responsive mechanism, and we have an early warning response mechanism, but ECOWAS is always a little sluggish to respond. One contributing factor to the sluggish response is the complex political underpinnings that impede the usually top-down approach to responding to threats, triggering the sensitive question of national pride and sovereignty. My last point is ECOWAS and the rising trend of jihadism in West Africa and the Sahel. Jihadism and terrorism have emerged as a major threat to peace, security, and social cohesion and development in West Africa and the Sahel. These violent jihadist attacks have deprived ECOWAS citizens of their basic human rights, including the rights to life and freedom from fear. Recognizing that terrorism cannot be addressed by any single state in the region due to its transnational and international dimensions, the authority of heads of states and government of ECOWAS during the 42nd Ordinary Session in Yamoussoukro, La Côte d'Ivoire, on 28th of February 2013, adopted the Political Declaration and Common Position Against Terrorism, which included a counter-terrorism strategy and implementation plan. The principal aim of this is to prevent and eradicate terrorism and related criminal acts in West Africa, as well as to give effect to regional, continental, which is the African Union, and international, the United Nations, counter-terrorism instruments, which were to provide a common operational framework for action. Within these instruments, ECOWAS has three main pillars: to prevent, to pursue, and to reconstruct. The key pillar being the first, to prevent. Also within the pillars are the following instruments, which are ECOWAS Counter-Terrorism Coordination Unit, ECOWAS Arrest Warrant, ECOWAS Blacklist of Terrorists and Criminal Networks. Some member states are now buying into this kind of thing and have now adopted national legislations and strengthened relevant aspects of their penal law to criminalize terrorism. ECOWAS has also been supporting countries like the Nigerian government in Niger, Lake Chad based in member states, the G5 Sahel to combat numerous terrorist groups. ECOWAS is also supporting the efforts and the efforts of these countries. Then at the community level, ECOWAS has implemented measures to operationalize the strategy by developing an ECOWAS counter-terrorism training manual to enhance strategic and operational level training and capacity building at the regional and national levels. Most of these ECOWAS counter-terrorism trainings have been held at our center, the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center in Accra, with financial support from Denmark, Sweden, and Norway. A counter-terrorism coordination center has also been set up at the ECOWAS Commission to support the implementation of the strategy. As part of the non-military strategies to prevent terrorism, ECOWAS is also implementing its conflict prevention framework to help resolve issues that could lead to radicalization, violent extremism, and terrorism. In conclusion, I'd like to say that there is no doubt that the prospects for peace, security, and stability in West Africa has been facilitated by ECOWAS through its proactive response to complex emergency on the sub-region, albeit its numerous challenges. Thank you.